Welcome to The Real News. I'm Eddie Conway coming to you from Baltimore. Thanks for joining me for this edition of Rattling the Bars. Recently, late last year, around October 2016, a number of prisons got together and decided to join in a national strike. Over 40 prisons actually participated. The strike lasted for approximately 3 weeks. We covered it the entire time. At some point toward the end, there was at least 12 states involved, and at least 24 prisons lasted throughout the 3 weeks. Because the national strike was suppressed from on the inside, a lot of the outside organizations and supporters decided that they needed to do something outside to support the prisoners' demands for their redress of their grievances. And so I have today one of the national organizers of a march that's going to take place in Washington, D.C. in August. But before we talk about that, I'd like to talk to her about her organization, what they have been doing, and why they are organizing. So please join me in welcoming Krystal Roundtree. Krystal, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, Eddie, on The Real News.
Okay, Krystal, can you tell me a little bit about your organization, what it does, and why it came together?
Absolutely. The name of my organization is I Am We Prison Advocacy Network. This was a collaborative effort between myself, the prisoners, and several law students. And I Am We is a human rights organization. We work directly with the prisoners in a hands-on fashion in an attempt to have their voice heard, to get their concerns out on the main stage. And so that's one of the primary goals and objectives of I Am We Prison Advocacy Network. You know, we were hearing and we've heard so many times that the people who claim to represent the prisoners, it oftentimes excluded them from the process. And we have a strong belief that you cannot represent people unless you include them into that process. And with that thinking, I Am We came into existence. As a part of the I Am We family, there is a collection of prisoners under the banner of Jailhouse Lawyer Speaks. JLS is the name that most people probably have heard of. But Jailhouse Lawyer Speak, as I mentioned, is a growing entity behind the wall, a collection of prisoners that educate, agitate, encourage other prisoners to stand up, to be knowledgeable about what's going on and how to take those necessary steps to bring about, the real change that needs to happen back there. I Am We Prison Advocacy Network, another one of our main goals and missions is to bridge the gap between the inside and the outside. We do this through building up networks. You know, the networks are resources for the prisoners themselves, for family members, for activists, advocates, anyone, all things prison related, abolitionists, all things prison related. I Am We has a goal to make those connections. And up to this point, you know, the upcoming March on Washington, the Millions for Prisoners Human Rights March is by far the largest thing that I Am We has seen. I Am We really took up this cause because it is such a needed and important cause. You know, we are based in a African philosophy, which is called Ubuntu. And, you know, that concept of Ubuntu really speaks to the interconnectedness of humanity. And absolutely, When you hear and when you come to realize what the reality is, the human rights violations that occur behind the wall for so many of our brothers and sisters, this was something that we were obligated to take up this cause.
Well, you're in North Carolina. Is that it? Is this a statewide organization, or is it larger? Is it regional? Is it national?
I Am We is based out of North Carolina. We are getting our hands in other areas of the country. It's really taken off, I must say, over the last 6 months in particular, although we have been in existence for the last 2 years. I can definitely say that over the last 6 months, there has been such an interest, a prisoner-driven interest. I must say they are really encouraging their families and friends to start I Am We chapters throughout the country. So it's growing. I anticipate that it will continue to grow and become a real force and resource out here for prisoners and their families.
One of the things I understand is that you've been working with Jalil Muttaqeen, who I call Anthony Bottom, because I was in jail with him for decades. So what's your connection to the political prisoners and that movement?
Absolutely. Brother Jalil Muttaqeen has been such an inspiration for this particular movement. One of the big things that we are challenging is the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and his ideas. It's our goal to build upon, this isn't a new issue. People, great individuals have tackled this in times past. It's our goal to build upon what has already been done and established. And Brother Jalil Muttaqeen, his 1979 Memorandum of Law challenging the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution is absolutely something that is an important resource for individuals to read, to have a better understanding of what we're trying to say, the point we're trying to get across, why this is a human rights violation, why it does not deserve a place in our Constitution. And because of that, Jalil has absolutely been an inspiration. Him and I correspond occasionally via the mail system, and his ideas have really been considered and involved in this entire process right from the start. He has strong goals about coalition building and how we need to strategies that we really should take to take this movement to the next level.
Okay, can you, in our next segment, explain to me what's happening in D.C. and why it's happening? And I'd ask our viewers to join us for a second segment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.